What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Morph RDA. Alright guys, so today we've got another screwless build deck from our friends at Tigertek. This time it's the Morph RDA, and I got to give them a big shout out and thank you for allowing me to take a look at this device for the purpose of making this video. So taking a quick look online, this device is available in 4 different color options. You have gold, rainbow, stainless steel, and black. I of course have the stainless steel version, as you can see here, and it's going to run you anywhere from $30 to $36, as low as about $28, coming straight from China, of course, so you're going to have to wait for shipping there if you decide to get one for yourself. But I'll leave you guys some links right down there in the description below if you want to pick one up for yourself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, as you can see, we've got the Morph RDA in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging and then talk about what's inside. So, first and foremost, a picture of the device with a little bit of that spot gloss on there. It is screwless, as you can see there. On this side we have Morph RDA, and that is matched on the opposite. On the bottom of the box we have their social media information there. And on the back, we have the color indication, scratch off and authentication, what's inside the box, and some legal stuff as well. And of course, some little diagrams with more little spot gloss on there, which is kind of a nice touch. Taking a look inside the box, we have the Morph itself, of course. Of course, it comes with the Morph. And then we get a spare little drip tip as well. Now, there's something a little bit interesting about this one. This is a Delrin tip, but it is a narrower bore, so that's kind of an interesting decision they made there. I'm not sure why they did that exactly, but hey, there you go. In the bottom here, we have a lovely booklet-style color user manual with plenty of graphics that I absolutely adore. Very well done there, in my opinion. And we have the obligatory bag of parts where you have spares of absolutely everything. Spare O-rings, spare springs, a little tiny baby Allen wrench, and the bottom flow pin as well. Alright guys, let's talk about the specs. It's 24 millimeters in diameter. It has gold-plated posts, dual post build deck, single coil configuration, screwless coil building system, press the post to lock the coils, peak insulation, deep juice well, side adjustable airflow, interchangeable springs for replacement, and it comes with a bottom feeder pin for squonking. Alright, so let's go over this thing from top to bottom, starting off with this drip tip here, and it is a metal wide bore. I guess you would call it a dock style tip because it's knurled and it kind of has that abrasive feel to it. Not the most comfortable thing to vape on that I've ever vaped on, but then again, we all can't win in the drip tip department there. It's a little bit wobbly, it doesn't really sit super nice in there, but hey, what are you going to do? So it is 810 sized, so we can just take our 810 tester tip here and just boom, slap it right inside there, which I probably will just leave that there because I don't like metal tips, but that's just me. Moving on, we have the O-ring on the inside lip here, which is pretty nice. It holds every other drip tip in a little bit nicer, to be perfectly honest with you guys, but there you go. You can see that sort of turbine style thing going on at the top section, and there's a little tiny lip here, which makes it seem like that this would be your airflow control, but it's not. It's completely static, and it doesn't actually do anything other than just look kind of interesting. The engravings on this one are very simple and minimalistic here, just Morph right there, and that's about it. You can see the air inlets right there, which kind of have that icon style to them, and in my opinion, doesn't really add anything to it. If anything, it makes it more turbulent, but there you go. And on the inside, you can see a slight chamfer on the inside of the cap. So this is where things get interesting. The build deck. These posts right here are completely spring-loaded. There's no need for a screwdriver on this one whatsoever. The springs are a little bit on the crunchy side, but you know what? This thing is so incredibly easy to build. I'm going to forgive them for that. If you have to replace those springs, then it has a little tiny Allen headed screw right there, and that's where you need to get into to swap out those springs, and that can be a bit of a tricky thing. I've never had to do it myself, so I don't know from experience, but just based on the placement, I can imagine that's a royal pain in the butt. You can see the little slots right there and there on either post, and that is where you actually slide your coil into, and it could not be any easier. You can see the airflow going right through the post there, and that's matched, of course, on the other side, and 2 O-rings holding this thing on as far as the top cap is concerned. Never had any issues with those whatsoever. And you can see the bottom here. the little Tigertek logo and it's called the Springer RDA on here, but I've heard that is incorrect. It's supposed to be called the Morph. So never mind that. This might be the pre-production model. So real quick, I'm just going to show you how to build this thing. It could not be any easier in my opinion. Just push down on the little side post there, position your coil where you want it to go, swing that leg around a little bit, and push the other side. Then maneuver that other leg inside the post, and you might have to adjust it here and there with just little movements like that, but otherwise you can freely now just kind of move your coil up and down. But that's about it for the install. All you might have to do is just kind of adjust it here or there with your tweezers and you're good to go. So anyways, that's it for this close-up section. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off today with the pros, and my first pro is that it's super duper easy to build. This thing could not be any easier. This is for the real amateur builder if you're just getting into building and you haven't even kind of delved into the world of adjusting your coils or knowing how long to trim your leads or anything like that, then you can definitely build this one just because all you have to do is have a coil set up with the leads facing opposite directions and then just push down on the post and slot it right in there. There's really no adjusting to it, maybe up or down ever so slightly, but that's about it. Then you just trim your leads off, heat up that coil, and wick it. It could not be any simpler than that, and I would recommend this for a builder of any skill level. Honestly, it's going to be great for every different type of builder out there. You can get creative with it if you want to put something exciting in there, or you could just put a simple round wire build. It does not matter. It's going to be easy no matter what you do. My second pro for this device is that it has a nice deep juice well. If you're like me and you hate dripping on your device every 4 or 5 puffs, then this one's definitely going to be for you. You can fit a ton of cotton in there, you can fit a ton of juice, and I go about 10 to 20 puffs before I have to re-drip. My third pro for this device is it's a squonker's dream. You're going to be squonking it a little bit less often with a single coil, and it's going to save yourself a little bit of battery life. Personally, I squonk it every about 10 to 20 puffs just like when I drip on it, and that's going to, just be a little bit less of a hassle for you. Plus, if you build it just right, you can get one hell of a good vape off of it. And my fourth and final pro for this device is it's rock solid, really well made and well machined. I have no complaints in that department whatsoever. It just feels like a nice solid piece of kit when you hold it in your hand, and it definitely passes the O-ring test. I can hold it just by the top cap here with no worries that I'm going to drop my mod or anything like that. So O-rings pass my test with flying colors, and I gotta say, I'm very impressed by this one. Alright guys, so moving on to the cons, my first con is the included drip tip. I'm not a huge fan of the tip they give you with this thing. First of all, it's made of metal, and I am not a fan of metal tips whatsoever, but besides that fact, it is super duper low profile, and whenever I vape on it, my lips tend to touch the top cap, and it's super weird. This sort of fin design here, it just feels weird when you're vaping on it, and I am not a fan whatsoever. And my second con for this one is it's kind of ugly, and I know that's super duper subjective, and it doesn't make any difference with the performance, but I just like my stuff to look nice, and this one doesn't quite pass that test for me personally. I just feel like this little turbine looking thing at the top here is just not really doing it for me. It kind of looks like one of those little vents that you see on the top of, commercial buildings or something, but with that, it doesn't really do anything for me in the looks department, although it does not affect the performance whatsoever. And my third con today is, just like on the Springer S, the gold plating on this one is a little bit shoddy. It really doesn't do it for me, and it kind of has that matte sort of finish to it. It's not really as shiny as some of the other RDAs that I've been taking a look at recently. I know a lot of companies out there are gold plating their decks, and a lot of other companies are doing a much better job. And my fourth and final con for this one is it's loud and it's obnoxious. Now, the coil placement is very, very essential when it comes to this one here, because if you have it set up just ever so slightly too high, then it's going to be super duper whistly. I have it set up a little bit differently than I've seen a lot of other illustrations and other people build this one, so obviously mine is probably the worst case scenario, but then again, in my opinion, I feel like the coil placement by a couple of millimeters shouldn't make that much of a difference. So at the end of the day, is this device worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one in for review? And I'm going to say yes to this one, but only just barely. It's just kind of holding on by one single thread, and I wouldn't really get too excited when it came in. I'd probably pick it up on one of the Chinese retailers' websites for super duper cheap and just wait for the shipping. But yeah, if you're a new coil builder and you're really struggling, then this one might be a good idea to practice with. And with that, if you want to pick one up for yourself, I'll leave links right down there in the description below. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments down there in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about the Morph RDA or whatever you guys want to discuss. Also, check out the description. That's where you're going to find the advocacy and my social media links. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.